My name is Mark Bennett. I'm the COO at ID Life, and I'm happy to be here. This is the Wednesday event that we're going to have every week at 11:30. Today's topic is nutritional myths. Nutritional myths, when you look at a fact label, the hardest thing about this country is that we teach the empirical system in schools, but yet we have the metric system as the system by which we read labels. Part of that is intentional. Part of it is so that it's more on a worldly basis. But the issue is people are confused. You walk down the aisles, and if you read things that say, healthy, diet, fat-free, reduced fat, light, all of these terms were designed by marketers to try and convince you that a choice that you were making was something that you were trying to do, which is lose weight, get healthy, get in better shape. But in reality, what they don't appreciate or understand is that what they're doing to people is sabotaging their goals, sabotaging their aspirations, and as a result, people end up giving up. All of that comes from some myths, and that's what we want to talk about today is where did those myths come from? Where were they? How did they originate? Let's start with number one. Eating fat makes you fat. Probably one of the most believed myths out there when it comes to nutritional science. You walk down the aisles and you see things like diet butter and reduced fat milk and fat-free yogurt and low-fat cheese. You see all these things and you grab them thinking that you've actually done something that's what you should be doing, especially this time of year with New Year's resolutions and weight loss goals. We grab these things that say fat-free. But where did all this start? How did we start on this, cut the fat out of your diet? How did we get to the point where fat is supposedly bad and causes us to be fat? Well, see, if you're a purveyor of history, kind of like I am, what you find out is that you have a situation where certain events happen that you have to pay attention to that somehow affect what the world believes. See, in 1955, Dwight D. Eisenhower, the president at the time, had a heart attack. That caused a movement in this country to try to determine why all of a sudden we had this rise in heart attacks and heart disease and everything else happening. Happened to be about the same time that we started introducing processed food and fast food into our society. Coincidence, maybe, but don't necessarily believe in coincidence. I'm sure you don't either. But that started a debate. And the debate came down to basically two rules of thought. There was two scientists. One was Ansel Keys, and one was John Yudkin. Ansel Keys was an American physiologist, and John Yudkin was a British physiologist. And Ansel Keys ended up becoming the Time Magazine Man of the Year because he was able to prove to society and all of the world that it was fats and it was cholesterol that was causing all the heart disease, and those were the things that we needed to remove from our diet in order to improve our health. So we started the fat-free craze, the reduced fat craze, and the reduced fat diets that we have in this country, even up to today. See, Dr. Yudkin, though, had a different theory. In the early 70s, he came out with his book, Pure, White, and Deadly. He actually said it was sugar, and that sugar was the culprit, and it was because of sugar that we had all these heart disease issues and everything else, and that fat played no role at all. Well, fast forward 60 years, Dr. Yudkin back in the day was vilified for his beliefs and basically went by the wayside. Dr. Keys was made, to be the savior, and what we find out is that maybe it was sugar that started it in the first place. See, there is no necessarily fats as a general rule are bad. Fats don't generally make you fat. When you look at the difference between a good fat and a bad fat, the bad fats will in fact make you fat. But this isn't a general statement. You can't say all fats are going to make you fat. You have to understand or appreciate the difference between what a good fat is and a bad fat is. And if you do that and understand that fat is actually what feeds the brain and gives you the ability to think clearly and have the mental focus to get through the day the way that you need, you can understand and appreciate what you need to do when it comes to fats. So the general statement or the belief that eating fats make you fat, not correct. Don't buy into it. Get the information that you need so you can make an informed choice. Now let's talk about the next one. The next one is a calorie is a calorie. This is probably the one that drives me personally the most crazy, the one that we fight on a constant basis. And in fact, if you heard the discussion last night that Jen Wiederstrom had on our Facebook Live event, she even mentioned this as well about how this is a big issue. Because this time of year, people want to count their calories. They want to count every single one of them. Though, just so you know, we do a very poor job of counting calories in this country. The science says that we miss 20 to 30% of them, just as an FYI. But see, the problem with a calorie is no one really understands what it is. And when you try to find out, you try to go read it, you find out about things regarding 1824 and energy and the burn rate and all these things. In reality, most people view calories this way, which basically those little tiny creatures that live in your closet and sew your clothes a little bit tighter every night. You know, we just don't appreciate or understand what they are, but we've so bought into the concept that we have to count every single one of them in order to be successful, it's causing a problem. See, because the reality is, it's the quality of the calorie, not the quantity of the calorie, that is the most important. We really want you to focus on what a quality ingredient is, what a quality product is, what a natural product is, as opposed to a processed product. And in fact, if we pay more attention to that, we will stop doing this. See, if you actually just count calories, and that's the only thing that you're focused on, then you would actually think the nut, because it's a high-calorie food, is unhealthy. And you would think that the low-calorie Diet Coke, in fact, in this case, no calories, is healthy. But nothing could be further from the truth. They're actually the exact opposite. One is healthy, that is the nut, and the Diet Coke maybe not so healthy. See, we have to stop focusing just on the calorie count and actually focus on the quality of the calories that we're consuming. Not all calories are created equal. We have to really focus on where the calories are coming from. In other words, if we look at high caloric foods, like processed foods, like burgers and fries and things like that, what we have a tendency to do is we have a tendency to overeat because they're low nutrient, and as a result we eat more calories because it takes a lot more to fill us up. Whereas if we take a low-calorie, high-dense food like salads, greens, vegetables, lean proteins, things like that, what you end up finding is you can eat a lot more food, but because it's low-caloric but high-density, you actually eat more and actually get the results you're looking for, which is you get in better shape, you lose weight, you reduce body fat, you get to a healthy state. That's what this is all about. So stop believing when somebody says calorie is a calorie. Yes, there is a thing out there called the Twinkie diet. Yes, you will lose weight, but metabolically it will affect you adversely. So be cognizant of that. So as to a calorie is a calorie, not true. Don't buy into it. Don't listen to it. Understand that quality is more important than quantity. Let's get into the next one. Carbohydrates are evil. This started with the Atkins craze. Basically, just like the fats, it was all carbohydrates thrown into the same boat. That carbohydrates are evil, and if we cut them all out, you're going to lose massive amounts of weight. That very well may be true, but the issue, there are effects and problems with that. See, there's two types of carbohydrates. There's simple carbs and there's complex carbs. And I know this can sometimes get really confusing, but the reality is complex carbs are things that are naturally occurring. Simple carbs are things that are processed. Another way for you to think about it is this way. If you actually look at what is on the left, what you find is those simple carbs, the pizzas, the sausages, the hamburgers, the cakes, the beer, the sodas, the donuts, all of those things are contributing to the problem. And as a result, what you have is people go out and say all carbs are bad because what you see on the left is 80% of what we consume on a regular basis. But what we miss is what's happening on the other side of the screen, which is when you look at the other side of the screen, those are the good carbs. Those are things that the body can actually use. And in fact, we use them every single day for fuel. See, most people don't appreciate or understand that carbohydrates are actually what fuel our everyday effort. These are the things that actually give us the fuel that we need so that we can do the things that we want to do. These are the things that fuel our workouts, that fuel our daily activities. What happens, though, when we don't have carbohydrates in our system and we're trying to get things done and we need energy to do so, if there's no carbs in there, our body is so well designed, it will use what it has and make energy that it needs to basically function. But what it does is it does not go after fat to create that energy. No, what it does is goes after protein. In other words, it uses your lean muscle, converts that lean muscle over to carbohydrate or energy so that it can function. So when we don't have the good complex carbohydrates in our system, what ends up happening, and we don't have that fuel, what ends up happening is we use our lean muscle to fuel our day. Not what we intended, not what we want. So the whole purpose of this is to get out of our heads that all carbs are bad and understand the difference between what a complex carb is and what a simple carb is. And the best way to remember that is if it's processed, it's probably simple. And if it's something that's naturally occurring, it's more than likely complex. Complex carbs are not evil. They're not bad. So all carbs are evil? Debunked. Not correct. Your weight determines your health. You know, this is a problem this time of year because you have a lot of people that live and die by the scale. You know, the thing about the scale is you are more than that number. It means so much more than that number. In fact, one of the things we like to always show people all the time at ID Life is something related to body fat percentage. See, here's two people that are 250 pounds. On the BMI calculator, you know, they're 33.9, which makes them morbidly obese. They're both 6 foot tall. One is physically fit, the other not so much. See, but unfortunately, if both of them, if they just focused on the scale, both of them would not feel good about themselves. Both of them would have this problem because society has told us everything is dictated by weight. See, the scale is nothing more than your accountability partner. It's that thing that you use to basically make sure that you're doing what you need to do, that you're getting what you need to go, and really just walking around that number, if it goes up, to basically make sure that you're eating the right things. But you heard Jen Widerstrom talk last night about plateaus and how plateaus are part of weight loss and they're part of the process. This also goes into the other aspect of the fifth myth that I want to talk about, which is muscle weighs more than fat. See, that's something that people actually believe, and it's been, you know, prevalent throughout our society. The reality is a pound is a pound. You know, Galileo taught us that way back when. You know, you ever notice how schools, they teach us things that we remember that have no value in society, but they don't teach us how to balance a checkbook and learn what the stock market is or how it works or anything else. But a pound is a pound. That is one thing that we did learn. It's all about density. See, if you want to think about it, a pound of muscle is basically the size of your fist. A pound of fat is basically 2 fists. Easy little visual to remember, but here's the thing that you really need to take away from this. A pound of muscle will burn 7 to 10 calories a day. A pound of fat will burn somewhere between 2 and 3 calories per day. So you want more lean muscle. If you have more muscle, you're going to burn more calories, which is going to increase your metabolism, allow you to consume more food and still get the results that you're looking for. So if I can tell anybody anything today and you take away nothing else, think fat loss, not weight loss. These are 275-pound people, one with a 20% body fat, one with a 35% body fat. See, body fat percentage is the measure of health. It's the thing that we're shooting for. It's the thing that we need. We need to understand and appreciate that if we will focus on the right things, putting lean muscle on our body, actually building the muscle, and focus on losing fat, not weight, and really pay attention to the most important thing. How do your clothes fit? How do you look in those jeans? How are you feeling as opposed to what the scale says? The scale does not define who you are. Who defines who you are is you. You get to make that decision. You are the one that knows how you're feeling, how you're looking, the energy levels that you have. Pay attention to those things. Do not let the scale discourage you. It can be your accountability partner, but do not let it discourage you and or the results that you're getting. Because most likely, if you're introducing physical fitness along with a weight loss regimen program, what's going to end up happening is your weight's not going to move that much, but your clothes are going to fit completely different and you're going to have a lot more energy along the way. So, your weight determines your health and muscle weighs more than fat? Gone. Those are both also myths that we have been taught to believe, but in fact are not true. I'm going to give you a bonus. Diet soda is a better choice than regular soda. Now, this is a little experiment that you could do, a little test. And, you know, I showed this to my wife, and she was asking the question, so why does the Diet Coke float and the regular Coke sink? Well, it's a density thing. See, because artificial sweetener doesn't have the same density as regular sugar. Even though they're both 12-ounce cans, both because they both have 12 ounces of liquid, you would think they would have the same general property. But because of the density of the sugar, one floats, one sinks. But see, the reality is, metabolically, they have the same effect on the body, almost. What I mean by that is, see, the regular Coke is something that goes in your system. You have an insulin response. The body goes in, produces that insulin so we can get the sugar out of the system, and that's what it does. The diet soda, guess what? The body sees the same thing. It produces the same insulin. It goes in and looks for the sugar. It doesn't find it. So the insulin does its second function, which is converts everything in the stomach to fat. As a result, you basically have potentially the diet soda to blame for that belly fat that you keep getting. In fact, researchers at the University of Texas found that if you drink simply 3 diet sodas a week, just 3, you have a 40% increased chance of being obese in your lifetime. So 3 diet sodas a week increases your chance of being obese, a BMI over 30, by 40%. So again, the diet soda, yes, it has the word diet on it, but don't believe it. Diet soda is better than regular? No. Drink your water. So you are the designer of your own destiny. That's the one thing I want you to get away from this more than anything else. At ID Life, we want to give you the information you need. We want to give you the resources and tools so that you can make informed choices, so that you can actually get the results that you're looking for and avoid the discouragement that so many other people get on a regular basis, especially this time of year. But remember one thing. If you keep doing and always do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've always got. It's kind of that insanity definition. Every January, people have resolutions regarding money and health. Always the same thing. It's a revolving door. Most people have had the same resolutions for 15 or 20 years. Unfortunately, they keep doing the same thing year after year after year, thinking that they're going to get a different outcome. See, at ID Life, we want to give you the information so that you can make informed choices. Don't believe the myths. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the marketing that's on the front of the bag. Actually understand what's on the back so you can understand a nutritional label. See, we've designed a program that is what we call Healthy Simplified. Something very simple to follow that we call the ID Life Experience. See, the experience is all about getting you into a healthy lifestyle, teaching you things that you can actually implement into your life that are going to be small incremental steps that are going to improve your health over long term. It starts out with the foundation of health, proper nutrition. We all have nutritional gaps. 98% of us are going to have a meal sometime in the next 2 days that comes in a bag through a window into our car. The reason we know that is because 20% of meals these days are eaten in the car. So we know that to be true. We are going to have these nutritional gaps. As a result, you need ID Nutrition as that foundational base. It's going to fill those nutritional gaps. But the other part of the experience goes through 3 main key features that are the key to long-term weight management and health. That is, not skipping meals. We have breakfast with a shaker cup. The reason the shaker cup's there is the number one reason given for skipping breakfast is time. With a shaker cup, water, and the shake, you have time because that takes less than 1 minute. Hydrate in the afternoon is going to keep you hydrated. We simply don't drink water anymore. Main reason given, we don't like the taste of water. Well, our bodies were designed to consume water. Our bodies were not designed to consume soda, especially in the amounts that we do consume them. By the way, the average American is consuming somewhere around 32 gallons of soda a year. 32 gallons is the average. It's crazy. But that is what we're consuming. We want to get back to the foundation. We want to replenish your electrolytes. We want to give you the tools and resources necessary and teach you that water is going to get you what you need. The third part is sleep. Everyone's favorite, but everything that people always compromise on because of time. Hear all the time people say, oh, I can function on 5 or 6 hours of sleep. Yeah, absolutely you can. You can function, but not optimally. Your body was designed to get more sleep. Make sure that you're getting the sleep you need. That's why the system is there.